I'd talk about the current 9 to 5 situation I have, but I don't know what this mysterious Zumba my coworkers go off to is, so that's about the most exciting detail. I did have a 9 to 5 job at one point on Main and Hastings in Vancouver. I was pouring beer, and there was always a lineup at 9 a.m. That was interesting. I noticed amongst the clientele there was a very high death rate. Pension day was exciting. Many people would get very excited, and I remember sometimes my one coworker had this Vaseline, so the Vicks Vapor Rub, that's what it was, and we put it on our noses because sometimes a customer would go up to the bar and go, "I think I shit my pants," and we go, "Well, you've had enough, it's time to go home now." And then sometimes I'd open the door to the alley to take the garbage out, and there'd be more people in the alley strung out on drugs than there were in the bar. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about an earlier job that mixed 9 to 5 with 5 to 11, depending. And it was on the other side of town in Vancouver. And it was a pub called Jeremiah's. And it was named after a man named Jeremiah, who had a very large beard. He looked like the kind of guy who would take his young son whoring. He didn't look like a nice man. He had apparently done some innovative clear-cutting techniques and was thus a part of our heritage. And there was a huge picture of him on the wall of Jeremiah's. And the place had various design elements of sort of ersatz British pub style thrown together in an innocuous way yet clashing, while there was large big screen TVs everywhere and unintentional homoerotic pictures of the Canucks in various tableaus, photographic tableaus. My favorite was the courtroom scene. Now, I was there as a short order cook, and I hated Jeremiah's. I hated that place. I hated the men who owned it. It was a father and son business, and I even wrote a song about it called Father and Son, which was kind of a hit amongst young folks in Quebec for some reason. It's kind of a hit. So that's one good thing that came out of it. However, it was a horrible place. It was just a horrible place, but it would allow me to go on tour so I could visit these people in Quebec. Now, one night was a very busy night. Sometimes we get slammed. There I was, a short order cook, and it gets intense in a small kitchen, and you have to work very closely with another cook. And you'd have to sort of work together if things got very, very busy. And we were slammed, and we did very well. My coworker Raymond and myself. Raymond was proud of what we faced that night. So after work in the pub, he bought us both a pitcher of beer to celebrate because we did so well in the face of chaos. We quickly drank that pitcher of beer, and then Raymond wanted to buy us another pitcher of beer. However, Raymond didn't have any money on him. So he asked me to buy the pitcher of beer and he'd get me back. However, I didn't have any money on me because I had a rather elaborate hobby of living paycheck to paycheck from drinking at that time. So Raymond asked me to ask the bartender, Rocky, to loan $40. Raymond couldn't ask the bartender because he already owed the bartender money. This is an interesting bartender. He had a cell phone and a pager. Put it together. His name was Rocky. Now, I did this, and we had another pitcher. Then we went to the back to change out of our kitchen whites, and Raymond said, "I want to make tonight really special. I want us to go do some crack." At that time in my life, I'd never done crack. So I was like, yeah, okay. I like experiences. I like new experiences. Eventually it would become an old experience, but at that time it was going to be a new experience. So I liked new experiences. So still had some of that money that Rocky, the bartender with the cell phone and the pager, loaned me. So we got into a cab. And the cab driver was of the same culture as Raymond, so they taught me a bit of hip lingo that I've long since forgotten. And we went to Main and Hastings, lovely Main and Hastings, where Raymond got out of the cab and 1 minute later jumped back in and said, "Go, go, go, come on, man, go, 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 go! I ripped the guy off!" So we went to Main and Terminal, where there was an Esso station, no longer there. And Raymond asked me to get a can of Coke. Well, I go in, and I go up to the man. Now, the man, I remember he had thin lips and thin gray hair, steel frame glasses, and a full figure tucked into his matching Esso tie and, shirt and kind of a, I guess you'd call those stretchy pants ensemble. Now, I buy a bottle of Coke from the man and go back to the cab. And Raymond says, "No, we need a can of Coke, not a bottle of Coke, for the makeshift crack pipe." Okay, so I get it figured out. I'm a newbie. So I go back and I tell the man, that I needed a can, not a bottle. And he said that it wasn't his department. It wasn't his, he didn't have the authority to do such, or some other rigmarole. So I go to the vending machine, because vending machines automatically dispense cans, right? Not this vending machine. So now I have 2 bottles of Coke. And I go around the corner, and Raymond is arguing with Esso Man. Cabbie's on our side. He's also arguing with Esso Man. It's escalating, and somehow with 2 bottles of Coke, I'm able to make obscene gestures at Esso Man. Then I see in the distance, not that far, but yonder, a can of Coke. So I put the bottles in to where the can of Coke is and grab the can of Coke. Well, Esso Man says that it's stealing, and I say, "No. You're getting the better end of the deal here. You're getting 2 bottles. I'm getting a can, which is smaller. This is better." And I get into the cab. Well, he claims that he's going to report the cab, and I yell a triumphant, "Fuck you!" To which I see something metal and gleaming come from his hand, roll up the window, zoom. Well, we do give the cab driver our info in case this guy does report the cab. We don't want anything bad to happen to him. And we get off at Fraser and Broadway. Now, that's where Raymond lived at that time. He was moving every 2 months, but at that time, he was living at Fraser and Broadway in an apartment building. And we go up to his apartment, and he has a mattress on the floor and a picture of his kids. I think he was a deadbeat dad on his TV, and also lots of stuff from the pub. It's amazing how versatile he was with stuff from the pub, whether it was bar rags used for everything, little sauce ramekins for ashtrays and everything else, you name it, a wide array of glasses because, hey, it's a pub and you could take those things home and use them for a wide array of whatever. He also, I think, probably had a freezer full of T-bone steaks. Apparently there was a T-bone steaks incident, but, we don't need to talk about that. So he had all this stuff, and then and I was pretty impressed, actually. It was like being at work. Except he's going to now make a makeshift crack pipe after we've finished sharing the Coke. We down it, and he, indents it, and he does the whole thing with the crack, and we pass it back and forth. Actually, not really much back and forth. Raymond really liked crack, so Raymond had the lion's share of the crack, and I still got pretty high. And we were watching TV, the TV that the photo of the kids that he never sees are on. And Conan O'Brien is on. We're watching Conan O'Brien. His special guest is Doris Wishman, director of the Chesty Morgan movies. And she was on Conan O'Brien because her cat had gone missing. So she just wanted to try to find her cat. So I was pretty enthralled by this. Raymond, however, was enthralled by the drapery in his home. And he was crawling through the drapes. And I was going, "Raymond, are you okay? Are you all right?" Yeah, man. Yeah. So I'm waiting for more crack, and I realize I'm not going to get any more crack. It's just not going to happen. So I walk home. Now, the walk kind of goes fast. I get a little song in my head. Yeah, da 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 da. I start singing it out loud. Yeah, da 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 da. My heart is beating. I'm walking faster. I'm pretty much yelling the song on my way home as time goes on. Yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, da 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 da. Crack was pretty great. So here's the thing. Raymond had asked me not to tell anyone about the crack. Turns out he told everyone not to tell anyone about the crack. And then a few weeks later, Raymond was let go for not showing up for a week, probably because of the crack, which means that I can tell this story to you guys here now. It's okay. I don't think I'm breaching any trust with Raymond and Jeremiah's pub. Now, the money he owed me, however, I did say, hey, that money, you know, can I get some of that money? He went, oh, sorry, man. My wallet got stolen. So that's my story.